Why do people stop listening to podcasts? The latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. The UK media regulator Ofcom has just published the results of its UK podcast survey 2022. They just published the data in a big spreadsheet with 30,000 rows. So we should all be grateful to Adam Bowie for taking a look at the data. It says that 25% of Brits listen to podcasts each month, the same figure as reported in Edison Research's Infinite Dial UK, and unchanged year on year. The most popular reason to stop listening to a podcast is I couldn't find any that interest me, with I don't have enough time being a close second. Spotify is the clear leader for apps and websites used to listen to podcasts in terms of people, with 41% of respondents claiming to use it in the country. BBC Sounds and YouTube are number 2 and number 3, with Apple Podcasts at number 4 with 23%. Higher Ground, Barack and Michelle Obama's production company, is apparently to leave Spotify, says Bloomberg. As first reported in Business Insider in early February, the Obamas reportedly found it difficult to get their ideas for shows accepted by Spotify management. They continue to look for a renewal partner. Spotify has done an exclusive ad deal, though, with the Fantasy Footballers, pulling it away from last year's deal with Audio Boom. The podcast also had a deal with SiriusXM for a live show, which no longer appears on their schedule, and the deal also signs them up for additional shows on Spotify Live, extending a deal done in August. The podcast isn't going to be a Spotify exclusive. Podcast Movement is hosting a set of sessions at the NAB show in Las Vegas next week. There's also a meetup, drinks, networking and fun. You can register in a link you'll find in our show notes and in our newsletter at podnews.net. The nominations have been announced for the Crime Con Clue Awards. Podcast nominations are Body Bags from Crime Online and iHeart Podcasts, Crime Show from Spotify's Gimlet, Disappearances from Spotify's Parcast, My Life of Crime from CBS News Radio, and Stolen, the Search for Jermaine from Spotify's Gimlet again. The awards will take place on Saturday, April the 30th, in the Paris Las Vegas Hotel in the library with a lead pipe. Nick Quah notes the return of Reply All's PJ Vote in Crypto Island. The straightforwardness of his return, says Quah, gives me pause. Buzzsprout is looking for a YouTube platform specialist to join their team. It's for the Buzzsprout YouTube channel, though, rather than YouTube's wider podcasting ambitions. The New Zealand Podcast Ranker has been published. New Zealand-made podcasts at the top of the charts are all republished radio shows. The highest native podcast, Between Two Beers, is number 21. Total downloads for March was 6.8 million, down from February's 7.3 million, and the ranker lists participating publishers only and doesn't list public broadcaster RNZ. In Manchester in the UK, Crowd Network is celebrating hitting 10 million downloads since launch. The company is now reaching over 1 million downloads each month. AfriPods is a new podcast host that says it's the easiest way to host, promote and listen to African podcasts. You can start your podcast for free there or publish your RSS feed on their platform. The Mayonocaster E2 is a new audio interface for one XLR microphone with sound pads, sound effects and reverb, and podcast ad company A Million Ads has highlighted its work with binaural podcast advertising, running what they call 3D immersive audio ads for a hay fever treatment calibrated to pollen levels last year. And in podcast news, Best Laid Plans is an audio documentary series that speaks to successful creatives from a variety of fields about the moments in their career that required a sharp pivot. There's a trailer coming up. What's worth watching on telly? If your TV channel choices include the RTE from your Skybox, then Go Loud Selects is for you, looking at the best in television, podcasts, movies and more from Ireland and abroad. To bring you the ultimate entertainment experience, it's new from Go Loud and sponsored by Sky. And Backstage Talk has joined the Broadway Podcast Network and returned for season 3. Hosted by Colombian performing artist Martin Acuna, it focuses on Latinx voices in musical theatre, and many of the episodes this season will be in both English and Spanish. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.
I look back at my career with a mix of emotions, some positive and some negative.
It wasn't like a career move. I was trying to end my career.
I'm John Frechette. In the fall of 2020, co-producer Todd Luoto and I both went through some life and career changes. After 15 years in Los Angeles, multiple jobs in and out of the film industry, and the reality of finances, age, and my first child, I realized my dream of a career in independent film was perhaps simply that. Todd had been going through his own changes, and it got us thinking, both about where our respective life journeys had taken us and how other creatives dealt with similar situations. In the midst of this, we reached out to some talented individuals we knew, and they graciously agreed to have a candid conversation with us and share their stories. Today, I'm excited to announce the fruits of those conversations, a new audio storytelling series called Best Laid Plans, which spotlights successful creatives from a variety of fields, speaking about the moments that required a pivot, compromise, or comeback when things didn't go as planned. These stories offer real insights from exciting guests like comedian and filmmaker Bobcat Goldthwait.
I'm in comedy jail, and later on I realized I hated this persona that I was trapped in.
Celebrated chef Deanna Davila.
It's buddies that want to open up a Mexican place and put sriracha in their tacos and make white people Mexican food, which is fine. Everything has their niche market. I don't mean it to be a negative thing, but that wasn't what I wanted to do,
Showrunner Z Chun.
What I realized from those meetings was that almost nobody who was a writer-director could make a living doing independent film. And that was a real wake-up call for me.
Screenwriter and film critic April Wolfe.
I had years of people just red inking whole paragraphs of everything that I wrote and saying not good enough, not good enough.
Musician and Song Exploder host Rishikesh Hirway.
Comparison is deadly. It's really, really deadly for your happiness and for your self-esteem. And yet the tools for that comparison abound, and especially in the music industry.
And lots more. As someone who craved more authentic dialogue like this at various points in my career when uncertainty loomed large, my hope is that our podcast can comfort, encourage, and perhaps even heal you on your creative path as much as it did us while producing it. Season 1 of Best Laid Plans drops April 21st, or find us on the web at bestlaidpod.com.